Hey guys, Keycaps here and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be checking out the Tecware Spectre Pro mechanical gaming keyboard. Big thank you to Tecware for sending this to me for video purposes. And just another quick reminder that when I reach 1,000 subs, I'm going to be doing a giveaway, so if you haven't already, do subscribe if you want to make that possible. And with that out of the way, let this review commence. Starting off with basic design, the Tecware Spectre Pro is a full-size mechanical gaming keyboard. It has a top plate made out of matte black plastic and the base is constructed in the same material. The Spectre features an enclosed switch design, so there's a white backplate underneath the keycap so the RGB lighting can be better accentuated. Speaking of RGB, there's actually a strip that goes around the entirety of the board, providing for some nice and subtle underglow. Above the numpad, there's a volume knob, which is always a lifesaver, that's surrounded by an RGB light ring and 4 indicators, which are just white LEDs for num, caps, and scroll locks, as well as one for gaming mode. The cable that comes with the Spectre Pro is a detachable and braided gold-plated USB-C to USB-A cable in black. It measures in at 1.8 meters or about 5 feet 11 inches. Flipping the keyboard over to its underside, there's 4 small rubber pads that keep it from sliding around on your desk, as well as 2 rubberized flip-out feet for angle adjustment. In terms of accessories, the Spectre Pro comes with a small plastic keycap puller, a metal switch puller, and 4 extra switches because this is a hot swap keyboard, but I'll get to that later. As for technical aspects, it features a 1000 Hz polling rate or 1 millisecond response time, full NQ rollover and anti-ghosting, gaming mode which disables keys like Windows, software support that allows you to configure with macros in 3 different profiles which aren't on board, as well as 16.8 million color RGB lighting. For some basic FN controls, FM plus F5 is backtrack, F6 is skip track, F7 is pause play, and F8 is stop. FM plus F9 is mute, F10 is decrease volume, and F11 is increase volume. FM plus up or down arrow toggles brightness, and FM plus left or right arrow toggles speed of the lighting effects. FM plus tilde will only light up keys used commonly in FPS games. FM plus hyphen changes direction of dynamic effects. FM plus equals shows all the colors the keyboard can display, and pressing any key will change the entire keyboard's lighting to that color you picked. FM plus backspace changes the backlighting from red to green and to blue. FM plus Windows turns on gaming mode. FM plus any key from the nav cluster allows you to pick different lighting effects, of which there are 12 of. FM plus scroll lock will change the lighting around the volume knob, and FM plus pause will change the lighting of the RGB underglow strip. And now I'll show you guys all the RGB lighting effects on this keyboard.
Need your loving like the sunshine.
The keycaps on the Spectre Pro are made of double-shot ABS plastic and have a bit of texture to them. They feature a rather minimal font instead of a bold and gamery one, which is always nice to see. The secondary characters are illuminated, but the media functions aren't. They're in a standard bottom row layout, which means you can use other keycap sets out there. The stabilizers on this keyboard are plate mount cherry stabs and do come pre-lubed. There is virtually no rattle whatsoever, although a bit of mushy feeling is still present. And because of the hot swap nature on this keyboard, I can always mod the stabilizers further if I choose. And speaking of hot swap, that'll bring us to our next topic. The Tecware Spectre Pro, like stated earlier, is hot swap, so in case one switch malfunctions, you can simply replace that broken switch instead of the entire keyboard. The Spectre can be had in 3 different switch options: Altimu blue, brown, and red switches. The unit I have here features the reds, which are linear and quiet. They have an actuation force of 50 grams, an actuation point at 2 millimeters, and a total switch lifespan of 50 million keystrokes. Like the Tecware Phantom 87, the hot swap functionality is limited to only Altimu switches, so again, no Gaterons or Cherry switches can be put in this keyboard. Now I'll do a sound test for these Altimu red switches. Moving on to software, you can mess with the RGB lighting effects, change up the polling rate, configure the 3 different profiles, as well as program macros. Nothing really too special to see here, and in my opinion, if you don't plan to program any macros, then there's really no point of installing the software because you can already change the lighting effects on board. Now let's talk about pricing for the Spectre Pro. It comes in at $70. Featuring hot swap switches, although limited to only Altimu, a volume knob, plenty of RGB lighting, pre-loop stabs, and many more, I would say it's a pretty fair price. As always, link in the description if you're interested in checking this out. Moving over to pros and cons as well as my final verdict. For pros, I just want to say that I love the inclusion of the volume knob. When I'm looking for keyboards to main, this is often one of the biggest deciding factors for me. The braided and detachable USB-C cable is a plus to me too, since it makes it easier to store if I'm taking it somewhere or putting it away. Next up is the hot swap feature, which again, like the Phantom 87, is another one of its main selling points. Even though you can only use Altimu switches in this one, it's still better than not being hot swap at all, in the event a switch stops working. I also enjoy the overall clean design of the Spectre Pro with nothing gamery looking of the sort. There's a decent amount of RGB lighting on this keyboard, such as not only the switches, but also around the volume knob and the entire perimeter of the keyboard for that nice underglow. The option to choose from 3 switches is also great to see because everyone likes something different and they can now choose between a clicky, quote-unquote tactile, and linear choice. Lastly, I appreciate the inclusion of many accessories that came with the box like the keycap and switch pullers and the extra replacement switches. You don't find big mainstream brands out there doing this for the most part, so it's definitely cool to see smaller ones doing this. As for cons, there's not really much I have, but I still need to cover them. First off, I'll be completely honest, but for its price of $70, I wish that this keyboard could at least have Gateron switches stock instead of Altimu because they're much smoother in feeling and don't cost that much either. It'll also allow for basically any switch out there to be compatible with this keyboard, which makes for much more customization. This next one isn't really a con, but more so a suggestion. The Tecware Spectre Pro also coming in a TKL layout while still maintaining the volume knob. Full size just isn't my thing, and I doubt that any of you gamers out there even use a numpad anyway. It saves some desk space, which means more room for your mouse to move around. And I love me a volume knob on a keyboard too. Tecware, if you're listening, please, I'd love to see that. So to wrap it up in a nutshell, would I recommend the Tecware Spectre Pro? The answer is a yes. While I do wish that this keyboard had a TKL version and more switch compatibility, I can't help but still recommend this. With so many features like hot swap switches, a volume knob, ample RGB lighting, USB-C, and many more, the Tecware Spectre Pro seems like a pretty good deal to me. Anyway, that'll be it for my review of the Tecware Spectre Pro. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up to show your support, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you won't miss out on any of my future uploads. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at KingXFOfficial, as well as join my Discord server where more giveaways will be happening in the future. I'm KingXF, and I'll see y'all next time.